Hey friends, how's it going? I'm recording this on December 31st at about 9 p.m. So I can post this tomorrow because I promised that there would be some good news for everybody, and we certainly have some good news. You'll have to forgive me. We're actually moving in about 3 or 4 days, so it's looking very, very bare here. But before I get to the good news, I kind of want to talk about a particular problem that has been going on in the biblical Unitarian community, and I think the good news will help to give some sort of solution to that particular problem. So this problem is something that I think a lot of people are well aware of, and that is the fact that when biblical Unitarians go to try to find scholarly resources on arguably the most abused book of the Bible, namely the Gospel of John, the fourth Gospel, the Gospel according to John, biblical Unitarians really struggle to find good resources specifically for that particular book. We tend to read it and we see that scholars are already indebted to some sort of understanding about the pre-existing Word being Jesus, the second member of the Trinity, and all these high Christological statements in John 20:28, and John 17:5, and John 3:13, and John 6:62. We see that constantly these works are ignoring the principle of agency. They certainly ignore the clear statements about the Father being greater than I, and John 17:3. And it's just been frustrating. It's hard to actually think of a really good commentary on the Gospel of John that biblical Unitarians can just grab off the shelf and use and not have to worry about kind of trying to find a good way to spin the things that the commentator has said. Well, that's where the good news comes in, because what I have right here is a contract. And it's a contract that says that the author agrees to write, compile, edit, and own the copyright to a literary work as present, titled Wisdom Christology in the Gospel of John. And yes, I have been offered a contract for this particular work. I have signed this contract, and I'm going to have the manuscript submitted by the end of January. So you can look forward to a book entitled Wisdom Christology in the Gospel of John in about spring of 2024, Lord willing. And in this book, we're going to go through the prologue, and we're going to show how the prologue is not talking about literal preexistence. It's going to be talking about notional preexistence. It's going to be talking about the personification of God's Word and how that parallels God's wisdom. We're going to talk about the principle of agency. We're going to talk about the difference between the two different types of preexistence, notional preexistence and literal preexistence. And we're going to show how the God in the Gospel of John is the Father alone, and Jesus is the commissioned Son in the Gospel of John, and that the two are never collapsed into a single being. We're going to talk about in this book how the Gospel Trinity is just absolutely nowhere within the book, and it's not even close. And those scholars that actually do argue for the doctrine of the Trinity in the Gospel of John, they're going to get a nice rebuttal in the footnotes. And we're finally going to have a volume on the Gospel of John that biblical Unitarians can use, and it's going to be great. And I wanted to announce it to my followers first because they have supported me in all of this research. And when it gets a little bit closer to the publication of this, I'm going to make further announcements, and we're going to have a giveaway of the book, and we're going to find different ways to help promote it so that other people can actually have a really, really good non-Trinitarian resource on the Gospel of John to say the things that we all know that the Gospel of John clearly says, but are often ignored by people that are already committed to this high Christological view of Jesus. Anyway, so I wanted to share that good news with you all. We are publishing a book on the Gospel of John, on the Wisdom Christology in the Gospel of John. It's already been written. We're just doing all the formatting, and I'm going through all of the style guidelines of the publisher and making sure that the manuscript fits their particular style. And you can expect something in spring of 2024. So hopefully you're having a good New Year. Appreciate you supporting the content. Thank you so much. And I will look forward to sharing this exciting work with you all. Take care. Have a good New Year.